Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you were able to join my webinar today. My name is Mary Hager, and this is Fun Activity Using Computers, Tablets, and Smartphones. I'd also like to let you know that this is my third webinar for AbleNet, and that I did one last year called Fun Activities Using Remote Control Technology, and then the year before that, I did one, Fun Activities Using Basic Switch Technology. And those are both in the archives of AbleNet. And just wanted to let you know in case you'd like to go back and listen to one of those. I hope that you can hear me all right. If you can't hear me, could you please type something into the chat room, and then we'll try and do something to correct that. Also, I always put in a little disclaimer. I don't work for AbleNet or any of the companies that I'm going to mention today, but I just like using the different products, so just to let you know about that. The reason I do webinars is because I love to share information with people, and I'm hoping that some of you may like to share some of your suggestions also. In terms of questions, feel free to go ahead and type them into the chat box. And if I can't answer them as I go along, I will get to them at the end. Or if it's something I just can't answer today, I will try my very hardest to get back to you soon and try and get you that information. Okay, so let's go ahead then to the first slide. Okay, as a background, I wanted to let you know that I am a retired occupational therapist. I worked in the school system for over 30 years, and now I'm doing some volunteering. I'm doing volunteering presently at an adult learning center, and I wanted to put together a project for this particular center when I started volunteering, and I wanted to be able to hopefully incorporate some technology, improving some fine motor skills, improving communication skills, improving social skills, and in this particular project, bringing parents and students and staff together. The project that I thought about for these students is that I noticed when I started volunteering that they really liked nature. And so, you know, kind of putting my OT hat on, I thought, okay, what is it that I could possibly do to help them improve on some technology? So you notice as I go through the presentation that I had the students choose a particular topic. We found some pictures on the computer or smartphone. Students helped each other. Students typed or wrote out different comments for their nature project. And the students had a chance to practice their presentations. And then there was a parent night. So I think that the parent night was probably one of the things that was exciting to me, as well as you can imagine, to the students. And then also some of the students used an iPad with Proloquo to go with VoiceOver. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of go through some of these slides and talk about these points. All right, one of the young people, and again, these are adults, so they'd be in this particular setting age 5 through actually 45. This particular student didn't have a lot of technology skills, but he really wanted to be able to tell us about dogs. And so one of the adult volunteers helped him on the computer looking for pictures of dogs. And as I go through this, you'll kind of get the idea of how exciting this project was, because each of the students was able to participate in their own way. And it also brought the staff really into the idea of the presentation. In this slide, you'll see that we have 2 students, and at the top, I labeled it Students Assisting Students. This to me was really exciting because, very often our students are always the ones that need the help, and the fact that the students with higher skills could help other students was really exciting. And so here you have one of the students actually helping the other student find pictures of what he wanted to do his nature presentation on. Another student was really pretty good at technology, but had difficulty with vision, had some visual problems. And so I searched around the internet and found this keyboard, which is actually a standard size keyboard. It's called Type Easy Large Letter Keyboard, but there's contrast. And so not only are the letters of the keyboard larger, there's also this nice contrast of yellow and black. Here's a little bit better, closer picture of the keyboard, and you'll notice that the keys are the same size, but again, that contrast of black onto yellow. And these keyboards are so inexpensive. I don't know if any of you have used any of these, but I was really pleasantly surprised to find out how inexpensive that they are. And they just plug then right into your computer. The next one is called an ECC large letter keyboard. And this one, again, standard size keyboard. And this has the white on the black. One of the other keyboards that I found out about recently, actually because of this project, is this wireless keyboard. And I did put this reference of Logitech K4000. And other of you may know better keyboards than this, but these are the ones that we used. And I wanted this one in particular for a student that loves sitting at this particular table, but it was very difficult mobility-wise for her to move from one spot to the other. And we did most of our work on a desktop computer. And so she wanted to be able to type her stories, but not have to necessarily move over to the other computer. And this worked out just really great, this remote keyboard. And another thing, this one, and I imagine most of the remote keyboards, are able to transmit to about 90 feet. So there was no problem at all with her staying in one spot and being able to go ahead and send her messages over to the desktop. I mentioned before that there were a whole variety of abilities in this classroom. Not only are there a number of age differences, but also the abilities. This one young lady wanted to really have pictures of birds in her backyard as her I Like Nature Because. Well, she is very adept at using her smartphone and taking pictures. In fact, she's probably more adept than most of us would be. So she went ahead and was so excited about taking pictures of birds in her backyard. So we said, okay, we're going to have to be able then to get these pictures onto the desktop computer. And this was one skill that she really wanted to be able to learn. So very easily then we were able to teach her to use the cord. Most of you know, of course, it's a cord that you just use for charging. And we're able to plug that into her smartphone and then into the computer. And she was able to send her picture right there. And then from that was able to print. The other thing that was kind of fun for her to know too is that she would be able to send pictures and be able to do that by email. And so I got many emails from this particular girl of different bird pictures. And that was fun because it was good for them to learn this other skill about, oh my goodness, I've got these pictures and how do I get them to a computer? And this is a picture of a smartphone. We had mentioned transferring pictures and finding pictures and all of that. Well, I'm using tablet as a generic term. We happen to use iPads, and so again, with an iPad, it's really, to me, just kind of a glorified smartphone so that you're able to look up information on the tablet, you're able to take pictures on the tablet, and thinking about this, I know that many of you probably are so very versed in doing this, but when you kind of stop and think about that, the students, the adults that I worked with, a lot of this was just really new knowledge to them. And so it was good to be able to use what we had, again, thinking about cost factor. I already had an iPad tablet. I already had a smartphone, and we have a desktop computer, so we didn't have to look at, oh, we're going to have to spend money for this and spend money for that. And I guess that's part of my old school-based training is what can I use and how inexpensively can I do things. Okay, this young man was very excited about finding pictures of sea turtles. So again, he didn't know how to do that, so we went ahead onto our computer and had him do just a Google search in Google Images. And he was able then to find sea turtles. And the part that I thought was exciting for him was that he learned to scroll through the various pictures of sea turtles and find the one that he wanted. He clicked on it, and then, of course, the next step of printing his picture was really a big skill for him to be able now to have a product, to print that picture off. This young lady has limited verbal skills, but she really wanted to let us know about this collie dog. Well, and again, thinking about fine motor skills and how can we incorporate a number of things into a project that we might be thinking about, I came up with just a very simple form where they had to type in their, put in their name, put in the date, and then I put in just a number of lines. And I did this for all of the students so they could either type or write on the lines about what they were interested in. So this particular young lady was able to communicate to us that she loves collie dogs. And the colors were white and brown and black, and that the collie was a big dog, and that she had to pet it very easily. I think one reason that really stuck in my mind was that here in just such a simple idea, she was able to communicate something about this dog that she really loved. She was able to work on some fine motor skills, and all of the students had to write or type at least 4 sentences. And so it didn't matter if the sentences were short or long, it's what their ability was going to be. And then she pasted her picture of the dog onto the bottom of her sheet. Okay, so it was getting a little bit closer to time for the students to do their presentation. And I'm going to take a little bit of time talking about this now, because to me the idea of practicing for this presentation was another skill that I really wouldn't have thought of. You can see that the students have like a booklet in front of them. So again, thinking about what more can I add to this project, how can I do it inexpensively, I actually went to one of the local churches and I asked them if we could perhaps, if they would be interested in making a little donation to our project. And they were so happy to go ahead and hear about the center and about the project and donated about $100. And with that money, then we just, bought the ink and were able to then copy off pages for everyone. Well, knowing that it wouldn't be good for the students to just have everything handed to them, we went ahead and made assembly lines. And so we had one of the students that was really good about, printing off those pictures, start printing off the pictures. Then another student was in charge of, and I'm calling them students, but students was in charge of, they needed to check off that all of the students were represented in this booklet. So that was another skill. Had to, follow nameplate, follow that down so that each one would be represented. And then another set of students were in charge of making holes in the different pages. And then other students yet were in charge of compiling or putting these booklets together. And again, we had the luxury, I guess you would call it, of having, time that we could set aside to do this, where a person in the classroom might be able to just do maybe, have the students do part of the project. But again, the whole idea of trying to expand and trying to have the students do as much as they possibly could with the project was just really a wonderful aspect to it. Okay, well, we had practiced for the parent night. And, it's funny when you think about talking in front of people. People that present a lot or are always, having the chance to talk in front of people, I think kind of forget how difficult that is to do. And so the students, of course, had to practice their verbal presentations. And even the students that weren't as verbal all, had the opportunity to come and practice in front of their classmates. So they had to come to the front of the room, be able to get there, and be able to then stand in front of, in this particular case, in front of their peers, and be able to get through the presentation, the best they could. This young lady really sticks in my mind because she was so afraid. She was so scared to be able to come in front of the classroom, but yet she was one of the students that was able to fairly easily type her presentation. She was able to print it off the computer, but just the thought of coming in front of the classroom seemed to be almost daunting to her. And in her presentation, she decided, for her nature, I like nature because, to keep up with the theme, I like nature because she loves horses. And even though she's not able to easily ride a horse, she wanted to let us know what she thought about horses. So again, she was able to type her presentation. She also, though, wanted to write it, so she brought about those fine motor skills and then told the audience all about why she loves horses. So again, that theme of I like nature because, and she liked nature because of horses. This next student is very verbal, and so he was able to, oh my goodness, he had no trouble in this telling us about his stories, about what he wanted. And he had decided to do his story, his I like nature because, on sharks. And again, thinking about how the students added their own personality to their presentations, he had just everybody just about rolling, because not only did he give a verbal presentation of his words, what he had typed out faithfully, found the picture of sharks on the computer, was able to print it off, able to put it in the booklet, helped to assemble it, but he had even added a little monologue to his presentation. And that just really was wonderful that he was able to add part of his personality to the whole thing. This young lady has limited verbal skills, and we used an iPad with Proloquo to go, and so she was able to give her presentation using the iPad and that particular program. Let me go ahead and switch to the next slide. Okay. So Proloquote to Go was something I didn't know about myself until I volunteered at the center. And it's a symbol-supported communication app to promote language development and grow communication skills. Proloquote to Go runs on all iPads, iPhones, and iPod Touch models that support iOS 10. So for this particular program to work, you would have to have one of these systems. I feel that I'm very, very fortunate to work with also a retired speech therapist. And that just was exciting for me. So as an occupational therapist, of course, I had the skills of knowing, fine motor and adding more technology. But this retired speech therapist was the one that said, let's go ahead and put their sentence on, in this particular girl's, let's go ahead and put her story on the iPad. And so she did all the work of the programming and getting the sentences all together for this young lady. And so it was wonderful that this young lady could stand in front of the classroom and use her iPad to be able to tell us her story. In this slide, we have the young man that I had mentioned to you that already had added monologue and a number of things with his presentation, and the speech therapist. But the speech therapist wanted to be able to explain to the parents a little bit about the importance of not being able to also to present something verbally, but then also being able to present something with the iPad. And we have used the iPad and the Proloquote to Go for other things, but I thought it was also nice since we were able to actually do a parent night, which, was almost like another layer on top of things, but what a wonderful layer it was, because, so often the parents don't get the opportunity to see their students perform, to see their children be able to be part of a whole project. And she then, which was great, was able then to explain to all of the parents the importance of the iPad, the importance of the speech program, and the importance of being able to collaborate, to be able to put teachers, occupational therapists, speech therapists, and parent together. Now with this assisted presentation, this is the young lady I told you about earlier that just loved collie dogs. Well, even though she has limited verbal skills, she was just determined to not use an iPad, but to have keywords. And I thought, you know what, this was a choice. This was a really cool choice that this young lady wanted to be able to express something to us and wanted to be able to show off her booklet. So I went ahead and I stood by her, and I helped with pointing out key words that she had written out, typed out, and had practiced. In conclusion, this project was very successful. The students really enjoyed it. Students helped other students. Each student learned more technology, and communication skills were improved. And I don't know if I can really emphasize enough the idea about the technology. And I'm going to go on here to this simple form. Now, I know to a lot of you that this form may be too super simple, but for me, I always like having a form because I think it's really important. You kind of lose track of, I think, of student progression. And even though we had no IEPs, that we were responsible for, I still wanted to be able, for myself and for the students and the parents, to say, for instance, and we talked a little bit about the ability to print something off a computer. Well, to a lot of people, that's just really simple. But, for our students, it was a whole new skill that many of them learned. And I wanted to be able to say, for instance, okay, Tommy, back in June, you weren't able to print something off a computer. But now, at the end of the summer, you were. And thinking about when a person has IEPs and different things, just a simple form I think really, really helps. And that's one reason I wanted to be able to include the form idea, because that way you can show progress. Or maybe if something isn't progressing, say for instance in our case, say if we just weren't able to get someone to learn how to do those steps to print something off the computer, then there's something else that says to me, something else I need to think about, something else I need to try and figure out that the student can learn this other skill. I included some references you can see where I've got the Logitech model, the wireless keyboard, and similar devices are available online, including AbleNet and from other office supply stores. Again, going back to being a school-based therapist, I really always have wanted to be able to say to a parent or to a teacher, you can find these things in a number of ways. And so I always try and include some reference idea. The Type Easy or the Easy Large Print, which is actually 4 times larger lettering on the keyboard and similar devices are available online, including AbleNet and from various office supply stores. The Proloquote to go, though, is I was only able to find it from AssistiveWare. And, of course, that is a little bit more expensive because it is a particular program, but I wanted to be able to go ahead and give you that reference, too. I'd like to take a minute now and to see if you may have some questions that you would like to ask of me. I'll just take a minute and see if anything comes in. Okay, I don't see, here's one question. It says, what did you like best about doing this project? I think that I like best about the project the things that I really wasn't expecting. So, I was kind of expecting that there might be, improvements in technology, that there'd be improvements in fine motor skills. But one thing that I really hadn't anticipated, which was wonderful, was when I mentioned about a student going up to the front of the classroom and being able, with either great verbal skills or not so great verbal skills, being able to stand there in front of peers, classmates, parents, and being able to express themselves. To me, that was just phenomenal. And after the presentations were all done, after they had all told their stories, one of the parents came up to me and said, you know what, I don't think I could have done that. I don't think that I would have been able to get up in front of people. And so that just really hit me, that what a gift we give to our students when we're able to expand on ideas, expand on things, and it just, kind of hits you that, oh my goodness, they were able to do this. Just following up on that just a little bit more about what else, what did I like best about the project. I think when I thought back at when everything was all finished, I really liked the idea, too, of the collaboration. I mean, just the thought of being able to get, the speech therapists and occupational therapists, well, although that were retired, and the teachers and the volunteers and the parents, and having everybody enjoy the presentation. And even although there were parents that were not able to go that evening, the fact that we had a product that the students put together themselves, even though it might have been, as simple as collating the pages or being able to put the pages together in a booklet. The fact that they all had a booklet, that they had a product that they could keep forever was something unexpected, the fact that people would enjoy that so very much. Okay, and let's see. Oh, okay, and just someone had mentioned that there are different apps that may be not too expensive that you might be able to research. And thank you. Oh, see, that was from Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth, for letting us know that we need to do more research on that one. Okay, again, I'll ask for any more questions. Maybe I'll just, before I'll end, I'll just go ahead and let you know that I do hope to do more projects with this classroom. I think I'm just really fortunate to have been able to, as a volunteer, look into this particular group of people, and hopefully sometime in the future be able to tell you more things that we've done with them. And I do appreciate Elizabeth making a comment that she says, I love the collaboration piece. And thank you for that, Elizabeth, because yes, just the fact of people being able to, get that together and share, and it's just wonderful. All right, well, thank you. And Elizabeth just says, also one thing that we could investigate would be a storybook app. All right, I see that our time is done. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today, and thank you for letting me share. Have a great day. Bye.